Welcome to Tantra Vidya, the first institute of impeccable wisdom, the walking, talking encyclopedia, the Sacral Parasympathetic Nervous System. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature with which the perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank is a reward of 60 years of integrated education. Impeccable wisdom is enlightening, and integrated knowledge is empowering. To understand sacral parasympathesis, let's revise the structure of integrated human nervous system. As you can see right on top, you have central nervous system, which consists of brain and spinal cord. This is center evaluating system, integration and master control. It has got two branches, sensory and motor, and both are called peripheral nervous system. Sensory inputs and motor outputs. Sensory division brings information from receptors, somatic as visceral sensory nerves to the central nervous system, and motor carries information from central nervous system to the muscles and glands for the thing to be executed. As I've been saying very clearly, first three top form reflex arch and is responsible for immediate, spontaneous reflex action to take care of all the physiological functions to maintain homeostasis and perfect integrated health. So this component has to be very integrated for every function. So without a perfect sensory nervous system, motor action cannot be taken place. But motor is further divided to voluntary motor nervous system, which is concentrated in execution of the functions which are voluntary in nature and associated with skeletal muscles. Involuntary autonomic nervous system responsible for visceral organs, endocrine glands, etc., and they center around smooth muscles and cardiac muscles. Involuntary autonomic nervous system further divided into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. We have already spoken about cranial parasympathetic nervous system, 4 cranial parasympathetic nerves, you can see right in the bottom in the previous video. At this juncture, we are going to straight away go to the sacral parasympathetic to complete the parasympathetic nervous system first. There are 3 sacral parasympathetic nerves. So let's start from sacral parasympathetic. Now to understand autonomic nervous system, you got to understand the autonomic ganglia, which are the transition phase. Understanding this particular ganglion, I think we need to understand the genesis of autonomic ganglion. Ovum and sperm get together through fertilization to produce zygote, and after zygote taking rest for 1.5 days, starts binary division into 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, etc. to the blastocyst state, and then go to the what you can see right now, trilaminar layers, ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. The nervous system is developed from ectoderm layers along with skin, muscles and skeleton from mesoderm, and internal organs from endoderm. So one of the video I've already talked about ectomorph, which has the perfect nervous system, is associated with ectoderm and ectomorph. Now coming to the specific development of autonomic ganglia. 19th day you find that at the section how the whole ectoderm layer looks like at day 19. You can see the neural plate, you can see surface ectoderm, and also the neural fold. By day 20 they start folding, and neural plate start becoming like a neural groove, and neural folds start coming closer to each other. On the day 22, they are more or less close to each other. On day 26, you can see Surface ectoderm is a completely independent and lead to the formation of external skin, which is a protection from all the external world in many ways, and also receptors for all the touch and sensory reflexes. You can also see the neural tube formation now at day 26, which lead to the formation of central nervous system. And then you have green, both the sides are neural crest cells, and when autonomic ganglia are nothing but migrated neural crest cells which get connected with the neurons preganglion and postganglion. So I'm sure this particular picture has made you understand why this particular picture I'm repeating again, because very, very important to understand the whole autonomic nervous system. This particular picture I've already shown, and the idea is when we are talking of parasympathetic nervous system, we cannot be isolated from understanding autonomic nervous system. In this particular picture, you can see hypothalamus is the head autonomic nervous system center. And the chakra, which is Vigyan chakra, is associated with hypothalamus. But over and over, I've also been trying to say, all the medical books talk of only 8 lobes of cerebral cortex. Frontal, motor cortex, parietal, temporal, and occipital visual cortex. These appear. But according to Divyang, there should be 10, that means 5 pairs. And the missing one is insular autonomic cortex, which is in the center, and that represents central autonomic networking. So up to hypothalamus, you have the head, but it's also further connected with the rest of the brain to get all the information, sensory and motor, so the coordination can take place. What is involuntary? With the help of Akhand Yoga, we can bring it under voluntary control. Involuntary autonomic nervous system is designed to make sure that everything goes very well. Suppose things are not going very well. With the help of Akhand Yoga, we might be able to rectify any blocks in this particular system and improve. And we will see that at a later date. So from that point of view, the cranial parasympathetic, hypothalamus, insular cortex, and connection with the rest of the brain, and then learning to go beyond to the outer 3 layers of neocortex to be in tune with universal consciousness, where we can control all voluntary, involuntary controls of the nervous system to be in tune with universal consciousness. I think we have already spoken quite a lot. It's reinforced because that is very vital as far as autonomic nervous system is concerned. Now, having understood what is autonomic nervous system, what is the cranial parasympathetic system, now let's proceed to the next. Sacral parasympathetic nervous system. In one slide, I tried to bring something so that you can have a comprehensive picture. Right on top, you can see in the middle neurons, which are preganglion fibers, which are associated with central nervous system to the ganglion, and then postganglion fibers to the organ to supply. Now in this particular picture, you can see neuron cells which arise from the sacral parasympathetic. You can see they arise from sacral segment 2, sacral segment 3, sacral segment 4. Only 3 of the 5 they originate from. Sacrum has got 5 vertebrae, and there are 10 nerves, spinal nerves, which arise. You must be wondering, in the very picture, I have shown 10 triangles projecting out from the background. They represent 5 vertebrae and 10 spinal nerves which originate from sacrum spinal segment. So I'm sure you now appreciate that why I have this particular picture. But in the center, there are only 6, 2 triangles putting together. That means there are 3 on either side. That means, as far as sacral parasympathetic nervous system is concerned, there are only 3 segments, S2, S3 and S4, from which 6 nerves arise, 3 on either side. So 5 vertebrae, 10 spinal nerves and 6 only. And is it surprising that Swadhisthana chakra, which is the picture I have put in the video, is known to have only 6 petals? Is it a coincidence? Or our ancient Indians knew very well that there is sacral parasympathetic system and it has got only 6 nerves, not 10 which you go see in Manipura chakra and Nabhi chakra. And from that, I think anatomy is quite clear. Now you can see in the middle cross section of the spinal cord, which is taken from sacrum segment 2, 3 and 4 alone. And you can see there are lateral horn cells. And I've been making it very clear, sensory component come to the posterior part to the dorsal root ganglion, and motor component arise from anterior horn cells. But parasympathetic system, sacrum, originates from lateral horn cells of S2, S3 and S4, and they are the one which are closely associated with insular cortex. Insular cortex is also the middle, this is also a middle, but sympathetic is also between thoracic 1 to lumbar 2, 14 segments, and this. Rest of the vertebrae, you do not see lateral horn cells at all. And parasympathetic nerve neurons originate from lateral horn cells, but they come out through the anterior root of the nerve and come and mix together as one nerve. They do not directly get into the nerve. Sensory component goes back and motor component, and along with the motor component only the parasympathetic nerves also come out. That is also something which need to be understood and appreciated. So I'm sure from that angle it's going very clear. This is how the detailed structure is all about. But what is interesting is there are 3 segments from which fibers arise, but these fibers go to ganglia and the neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. One more point which I would like to lay emphasis on: preganglion fibers are lightly myelinated, whereas postganglion fibers are non-myelinated. And myelinated means you have Schwann cells circling, and then you find between them you have nodes from which salivatory conduction can take place. And then another thing, difference between sympathetic and parasympathetic is, in parasympathetic, preganglion fibers are longer, so then they need to be myelinated, and posts are only small, almost on the organ, hence they can be non-myelinated. So I'm sure from that angle is very clear. Now another point, there are only 3 sets of nerves which arise from sacral segments S2, S3, S4, but they further go to supply 5 different organs. What are they? Lower part of the large intestine, including rectum, is supplied by sacral parasympathetic nervous system. Part of the kidney and urinary bladder also supplied by sacral parasympathetic. Reproductive organs like uterus and ovaries in females, penis and testes in males are also supplied by the sacral parasympathetic. Prime function of sacral parasympathetic is reproductive health. Now physiology you can see. Rectum is supplied by sacral parasympathetic leads to the relaxation. Kidneys urine formation, bladder relaxation, penis for erection, uterus for stimulation, vaginal secretions, testes for stimulation, ovaries for stimulation, and as a result, sex hormones are produced in abundance to take care of the reproductive health. So, in quote, sacral parasympathetic prime function is reproductive health, reproductive organs. And this is something which I am very convinced that this system has to be good to give us the ojas, lot of hormones which are essential for body heat and the reproductive health or general health by and large. This cannot be put under the carpet and it is very clear. But here I would like to bring an element which I understand from ancient Indian wisdom of Tantra Vidya. And also you have, according to Tantra, there are 5 types of pranas. Prana, connected with the heart. Udana prana, which lifts the energy to the brain. Samana prana, which is digestive system. Vayana prana, which is overall aura around the body to take care of health. And apana prana. Apana prana is meant for something to throw things out. Words expulsion takes place through apana prana. From that point of view, I understand apana prana is primarily associated with sympathetic nervous system alone. At this juncture, with this clue, I would leave it. Apana prana is associated with sympathetic and reverse is associated with sacral parasympathetic. So now, from that point of view, let's understand how this particular thing works. Let's go to the next slide. In this picture, you can see right at the bottom is the Mooladhara chakra, which I'm going to talk about it in detail in sympathetic nervous system, which is going to be the next video. On top of that, the second chakra is Swadhisthana chakra, is chakra which I have shown in this particular picture. You can see the 6 petals and also the white, the bluish crescent down. This is also something which I have taken from Tantra, where symbolic representation is besides 6 petals of Swadhisthana chakra, which has made my understanding very clear. Sacrum might be 5 vertebrae, 10 spinal nerves, but Swadhisthana is associated only with 6 petals, and that means it is only with the reproductive organs. This. Then why ancient used particular blue crescent down to represent? They were represent its water. In other words, this particular chakra revolves around water element. Mean whether it's urine, fecal matter, as well ejaculation or discharge, everything has to be watery in nature. So apana prana's part is closely associated with this. A balance of sympathetic and sacral parasympathetic will be absolutely essential for maintaining a perfect reproductive health. And to understand this more, I think let's wait for the next video where the understanding sympathetic nervous system will be able to understand cranial parasympathetic nervous system as a sacral nervous system much better, because they work in opposite to each other. But balance of them is absolutely essential. So from that, let us come to make this short video. Thank you very much for kind listening. Thank you.